Citizenship is a class, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our class for today. In our previous class on citizenship, or in civic education, we discussed what a dual citizen is and how an individual can lose his citizenship rights. If you have not watched that video, go over it and watch it. That was a part 2 of our citizenship class. This is part 3. So we'll have 3 series on that citizenship. We'll still continue on that citizenship series. So if you have not watched it, go and watch it. That will help you to understand this class we want to take today. Under our national value citizenship, we're going to discuss 2 main areas. We're going to explain the meaning of rights, and we're going to explain the meaning of duties. Then we'll talk about the types of rights of a citizen. Rights of citizenship. What are the rights an individual possesses? But now let's go to our first objective for the class, which is explaining the term rights. After explaining the term right, I will explain the term duties. What is right? There are ethical principles of freedom. Ethical principles of freedom. A right is a demand or entitlement that's allowed and freedom that are guaranteed each person. A right is ethical principles that an individual is entitled to, and this entitlement allow the individuals to possess certain rights, and these rights are guaranteed. They are non-negotiable. They don't negotiate for it. As far as you are a human living in a country, you are a citizen of a country, you are entitled to those rights. These ethical principles, you are entitled to them. And then this freedom, you are guaranteed such freedom. That's the right of an individual. It is your entitlement. It is equally an ethical principle that follows every human that, or every person that is a citizen of a country, and those freedoms are guaranteed. They don't negotiate for them. That is right. Now we've seen what right is, and such example of such right, we will talk about them, but let me give you a few examples. Example are rights to life, life to fair hearing, right to move to anywhere you want to, freedom of movement or right to movement. These are some of the rights we possess. But the most ultimate right we possess is right to life. No individual is forced or can be forcefully, his life forcefully taken away from him or her. No. We'll talk about those rights when we come to the second objective for the class. So that is right. Next we want to talk about duties. What are duties? Let's go to the next. Duties. We have seen rights of a citizen. Now we want to see duties. What is duties? Duties is something that one is expected or required to do, either morally or legal obligation. It can be moral obligation, it can be legal obligation. That is duties. And there are expectations required of a citizen. So we can say that duties is something that one is expected or required to do legally or morally. Invariably in our citizenship class, duties here implies the expectation. What is expected of a citizen? What is expected? What are the moral obligations that a citizen is required to carry out? What are the legal obligations that a citizen is supposed to carry out? That is duties. What you are to do. Expectation required of you to achieve. That is what duties is. We've seen rights, now we've seen duties. We're going to mention a number of rights that a citizen possesses. What are those rights you possess as a citizen of Nigeria? Let's find out those rights. I'm going to mention them, itemize it, and we'll discuss. So now, types of rights of a citizen. That's what we're going to discuss now. Type of rights of a citizen. There was a class in my citizenship class that I discussed the rights and freedom of a citizen. You can navigate through the channel and go through that class on citizenship too. Today I'm still going to list these rights that a citizen possesses. 1. Right to life. Right to dignity. Right to personal liberty. Right to fair hearing. Right to privacy. Right to freedom of thought and religion. Right to freedom of expression. Right to freedom of assembly and association. Right to freedom of movement. Right to freedom of discrimination. And then finally, right to own property. These are the rights an individual possesses as a Nigerian. Right to life. Nobody has the right to take your life unless on exceptional case that the law caught up with you and you are sentenced by a court, a law court, to die. Those are exceptions. There are exceptional cases. I will not go into the exceptional cases. I'm going to only explain those rights. Right to dignity, that every human have his own dignity as a person, and the person, every individual have to be respected as person. Everybody is equal. Right to personal liberty, that you have your liberty as an individual to do what you are supposed to do that is not against the law. Right to fair hearing, that you have every liberty to go to a law court and you are heard by a judge or any agency that your case is presented before. Right to privacy, that nobody has the right to eardrop into your private life, either your communication, barge into your home. Nobody have that right. Right to privacy. Right to freedom of thought and religion, that you have freedom of what you think is right and wrong, and that you are free to assemble or to have a religious belief or belong to a religious organization, that you are not forced or deny the fact that you want to congregate with a religious body. Right to freedom of expression. You can express yourself as far as is within the borders of law. You can express yourself and air your opinion. Then the number 8 is freedom. Right to freedom of assembly and association. You have the right to associate with people, to assemble with people without anybody interfering with your activities. Then right to freedom of movement. You can move to anywhere. Nobody restricts your movement unless in the case of you are restricted by a law court or by a judge. Those are exceptional cases I said I am not going to talk about. Right to freedom of discrimination. Nobody is to be discriminated. Everybody has his own rights. Then right to own property. Anywhere in the country, you have the freedom to own property. You can buy property anywhere. You can relocate to anywhere. You can reside anywhere. These are 11 rights I have mentioned. So, in the course of our class, we've mentioned 11 rights. Your assignment is go over it, watch it over and over again. If you lay your hands on other civic book and you see other rights that a Nigerian possesses, add it to these 11 I have mentioned. If there are others, mention it below the comment box. I may have opportunity to teach you this right again and I will include it. Have questions, ask below the comment box. And then share the video, subscribe if you've not subscribed. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Let's get to the 2K subscribers. We are more than 1,000 subscribers. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers. So share the video, subscribe, invite others to come and see what we do here. So that will be it in our national value class today, citizenship part 3. Our civic class today, this is where we bring it to an end. So as an individual, as a student, please know the rights you possess so that nobody trample on your rights and nobody take away your rights. We've discussed your rights, your duty as a citizen, and then the right to possess as a citizen. So in our next class, we still talk about other citizenship areas as it affects your citizenship rights. Until I come next time, remain blessed.